I stand here to seek your full support on this mission to conquer cancer. And I just want to kindly remind everyone here that we have some tasks left unfinished. And today, we're going to see how we're going to join in the journey to finish the task. A lot of emotions start to flare up when you start reading this word, right? Fear, uncertainty, this darkness starts to prevail, and this anger. Why me? What's next? And is there any hope at all? So a lot of questions start coming up when the topic cancer gets discussed. Why? Why cancer is scary? These numbers tell the story, because in 2020 alone, 19 million cancer cases were diagnosed, and not to mention, there were 10 million deaths occurred in 2020. Besides all the advances we have done in the field of medical care, we still do not understand why cancer is happening and how to prevent it completely. When a patient gets diagnosed, you go to the doctor, first thing they say is you have from few months to few years to live. There is no universal cure, unfortunately. But there are thousands of clinical trials up and running, and thousands of researchers are working day and night to make this happen. So there is hope. Moving on, I just want to touch how this battlefield or this fight against cancer is being taken. So the standard treatments are existing for more than a decade. Surgery, when a tumor is reachable, doctor will perform a surgery, take the tumor out. Chemo and radiotherapy are often done when the tumor is not reachable, or to suppress the tumor, and at the same time to destroy, in some cases, the tumor completely. But they have limitations. Not all the treatment will go and hit the target. There's always an off-target effect of all these standard treatment approaches. And often healthy cells and other organs also get affected. Besides, it's more important to know cancer is smart, sometimes over smart. They have evolved techniques to disguise, escape, and be elusive. It's a big problem. So this is where we come with this approach. Over the last 2 decades, moving from non-targeted standard treatments to targeted therapies have come into effect. As the name suggests, it's very clear. You start targeting the cancer in a more accurate way, and then you take off the off-target effects. It is defined under the term immunotherapy. Immunotherapy means simply making use of your immune system to fight against cancer. On a daily basis, there are quite a lot of abnormal cells which are generated in your body. Not everything generated in your body is perfect, but your immune cells are designed to take care of them. When the problem becomes worse, when these abnormal cells become more in number, and then they find a place where they can settle in, that's when the problem starts to arise. So I quickly go through this. I'm not going into the details. There are certain approaches. You can use antibodies, which will target the cancer antigen, inhibitors to block cancer proteins. They use proteins also to boost the immune system so you can have a better attack, vaccines. And the topic I'm going to discuss a little bit in detail today is cellular immunotherapy. This is the field where I've been working for the last 13 years. And in simple, it is using your immune cells which are in your body to treat cancer. Let's see how this happens. Cellular immunotherapy, like I mentioned, we have 2 sources. One is allogenic. Simply, it means you get the cells from a healthy donor. You and me can be a healthy donor. You can be a source of stem cells. Autologous, for certain indications, we need patient's own cells. You take the cells from the patient, culture them, give it back to them. How can we do that? There are 2 methods. One, in a natural form. So there are cells like T cells, natural killer cells, Don't worry if it's too much of biology. These are just immune cells designed in your body to fight against bacteria, viruses, and abnormal cells. And they do a fantastic job on a healthy individual. And genetic engineering is brought forward mainly because where you load a cancer-specific antigen, this is a little bit like a precision-guided missile, which can do the target really, it's like a laser-guided bomb. I promised the students I'll make it really non-violent, this talk, but I couldn't avoid that. So this is genetic engineering, and this is where you try to see more and more promising results start coming up. I just want to draw your attention to this figure. So the cells in green, this is an NK cell. So you see one NK cell hovering over these violet cancer cells, and then it's inflicting the toxic granules. And you see that in a few seconds, all these cells turn red. And this is killing of one NK cell by multiple tumor cells in a culture setting. And we expect the same to happen in the patients. I want to quickly remind the enemy we are trying to attack or fight is humongous. Cancer cells are more in number, and especially when they try to localize and spread all over the body, the immune cells which are in your body are not enough. So this is what I do for my living, where my hobby is to make billions of cancer-killing NK cells from one cord blood. I work for a company called Glycostem. It's a clinical stage biotechnology company. We use fresh umbilical cord blood. When the mother delivers the baby, we manage to get the cord blood to our manufacturing facility within 72 hours. And we take stem cells because most important thing, the umbilical cord blood has the rich source of stem cells. Valuable information about it, it's also very low immunogenic, undisturbed. Not anything can pass through the cord. So we take them and we put them through 3 stages of culture. I'll try to explain it in a very simple way. Imagine this is a kid going to school. AICS, he learns those A and B and C's, takes few years, and then he goes to college where he gets to know everything which is needed to fight against the evil in the world. Well, this might take 24 years, but we do this culture process in 45 to 50 days. So all we are doing is making the stem cell mature, expand, and put it against cancer. Very simple, right? This is what I wanted to highlight to you. This is a story many of you would have heard. This is Emily Whitehead. She, as a 6-year-old, was diagnosed with a very aggressive blood cancer. Doctors said chemotherapy will not work because her cells started to become resistant to chemotherapy. Hope was lost. Then they tried this therapy called CAR-T immunotherapy, the precision-guided missile, which I just mentioned a while ago. She's now 10 years cancer-free. She's 17 years old now. And miracles do happen, but not for all. Cancer is a very heterogeneous disease. Nobody knows why it comes in certain cases, and we do not have treatment for all. This is where I come and invite you for those tasks which is unfinished. This is me trying to convince these 3 bright, young, brilliant minds from AICS. This is 6 years back. They've grown really much. Everything went in vain. They all chose to take a different path. Yeah? You know this guy, right? He's running around with the mics. Yeah? So what I want to say here is, not everybody can be a cancer researcher or a scientist. This is normal, right? But we have more things we can do besides being a cancer researcher or a scientist. What we can do? Fundraising. Often we underestimate what is needed to get this disease treated. Where is the money coming from? This is very important to understand. There are a lot of cancer research supporting societies. A couple of them I put here as the Dutch Cancer Society, Cancer Research UK. I encourage you to take a look and to see what they are doing. This is very important to see how they are raising funds. And in Cancer Research UK, there is A to Z of activities you can do. It's not somebody else. Everybody in this room can do. Young and brilliant minds, you can do those A to Z of activities to raise funds for cancer research. Moving on. There are other things which are very important. Like I said, there are people who are lucky, like Emily Whitehead, but there are other 10 million people who are dying. They do not have hope. They do not have any treatment options which are working. What shall we do? Leave them alone? No. It's very clear, cancer puts a timeline to everybody's life. You would have heard this several times, but for cancer it applies very much. Treatment is only 50% cure, but the rest comes from the support and the care you give. Especially, you guys can also help patients get the right information. You guys are well versed with IT and computers than my generation is. You can help them direct where to go, what to do. And this is very, very important, the end stage care. These are people who are told by the doctors, you have 2 weeks to live, take care. What will they do? They're quite desperate, they don't have anything else. Can you be part of this palliative care? This is a very important, noble profession, being hope, giving hope for the hopeless. So there's a lot you can do other than being in the research. This is something where I want to add my own personal story, adding colors. This is my beloved aunt, Margaret. This video is with my daughter, shot in 2017. She died a year later. She was diagnosed with breast cancer, and she lost the battle after 10 years. She was diagnosed in the late 30s, died in the beginning of 50s. One thing my aunt taught me, as you can see from her colored dress, she loved bright colors, including her trousers, shoes, bags, bright colors. Not only she was wearing bright colors, she was making sure that the brightness was radiance to all the people around her, even in her most difficult times. I also want to add a couple of stories to this, stepping aside from cancer for a second. A couple of weeks ago, my creative writer slash big brother put in LinkedIn a post about a bright object shining in the sky. I looked at the LinkedIn post, I didn't see anything. I just put a like. Oh, he's my big brother, right? I have to like him. So I just put a like and just moved on. After a couple of hours when I checked it, there were a lot of posts down in LinkedIn. And then it said, oh, it was not in our place. It was so nice to see at your place. You know what he put as the bright object? It was the sun rising on a dull winter day morning. I overlooked it. I often underappreciated it. But why I'm bringing this here is these cancer patients, not only cancer patient, but everybody needs this bright object on their dull or when they're in a hopeless situation. Can you be that bright object, also shining radiance when they need it? So this is also where you can support in many ways. And these teeny tiny motivations are very important. Also for me, it's like eating my favorite food, cooked by my favorite sister, Renu, eating biryani. It's like eating biryani almost every day for lunch and dinner. You know that fulfillment you get? When you're a foodie, you will know that. So these are small things, but what I want to highlight here is, of course, I came to talk about cancer research, but this is also important. This is being human, the simplest thing we can do to take care of people who are in need. This is my final slide, and then of course I have 2 more slides. So let us all join together. Please stop thinking it's somebody else's problem. When it's what we do always, right? I also do the same. I'm not gonna say I'm different. It's not someone else's problem. If we start caring, giving hope, and holding each other, then I think even for those who do not have treatment, this is going to be a magic. And let's start thinking as a society. We have the responsibility to support cancer patients and research. And I like saying this again and again, I dream a dream that one day, with all the efforts we put in, nothing will go in vain, for sure. We can treat cancer like a paracetamol. Walk to Crowdworth and say, give me X cancer paracetamol. It might happen, we never know. And we need to stay positive and keep helping each other. And together, yes, we can conquer cancer, but I also want to focus, care is more important than the cancer itself. And yeah, this is me. Thank you, everyone.